Okay, let's get started. This video talks about the storage of food and water. Now, I apologize to all my metric friends, but I'll be using inches, feet, ounces, cups, and gallons in my calculations. You're probably more adept at converting to the metric system than I am. Just a quick recap. Do you have the storage space for 90 days of food and drinking water? This 70 cubic feet is actually storage space, not physical space. Okay, let's talk storage. You could use any type of storage bin. For example, you could use the plastic containers that have a fitted lid that are stackable, and some even have wheels underneath them for easy moving. You can get open shelving, metal, plastic, or wood. You can get cabinets that are plastic, metal, or wood. You can convert a closet to accommodate your storage needs. It's truly up to your imagination. Whichever you decide on needs to be strong enough to hold the amount of food and water you choose to place in it. These items can usually be bought at any hardware store. You might also be more efficient and store more in less space. The price of these storage items, new, vary from $50 to $300 a piece. It just depends on what you want to use. So that's storage. Now let's talk food. So what is a meal? What does a meal or meals look like to you and maybe others? As I stated in my intro, the plan is for 2 adults. So a meal day equals 3 meals of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Based on the environment and planning for and no goo, all the food products will be canned. For the purpose of this illustration, breakfast for 2 is 1 15-ounce can of fruit in heavy syrup. The 15-ounce can is used because it can feed 2 people for 1 meal and then 1 bottle of water per person. If your can doesn't have a lift-up, pull-off lid, then make sure you have a manual can opener. Heavy syrup has the calories. Remember, we're in survival mode. For lunch for 2, plan for 2 3.5-ounce cans of meat. For example, 1 can of sardines is anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 ounces. This meat inventory is made up of fish and chicken. Then you'll need 1 15-ounce can of vegetables or beans, or whatever you want, and 1 15-ounce can of fruit. Whatever you select, make sure it is edible right out of the can, and 1 bottle of water for each meal. Dinner is a complete repeat of lunch. So for 1 day, this is 9 cans of food for 2 people. 1 can for breakfast, 4 cans for lunch, and 4 for dinner. I considered adding crackers to this menu, but they take up a lot of room and their use-by date isn't very long. So 9 cans times 90 days equals 810 cans of food. 360 cans of meat, 180 cans of vegetables, and 270 cans of fruit. The number of non-meat cans is based on a 15-ounce can. So if you decide to get a 28-ounce can, then your physical number of cans would be less than what I've listed. I've budgeted $1 per can of food, or $810 for the food inventory. When buying canned food, look for cans that have the furthest out use-by date. Sardines in oil tend to have the farthest, and fruit tends to have the shortest. The use-by date can be hard to find, but it should be on the can somewhere. If not, put that one back and look at another. So let's recap. 1 can for breakfast, 1 15-ounce can of fruit. 4 cans for lunch, which is 2 meats, 3.5 to 4.5 ounces, 1 vegetable or bean can, 15 ounces, and 1 fruit can of 15 ounces, and 4 cans for dinner, which would be the same as lunch. Okay, that covers food. Let's talk drinking water. Now, you can prepare for this in a couple of ways. Draw your own and store it, or buy it. For the purpose of this video, I'll be referring to purchased bottled water. Each typical bottle of water is half a liter, or 16.9 ounces. For calculation purposes, I've rounded that up to 17 ounces. Rule of thumb is that each person needs 1 gallon of water per day. That is 128 ounces, or 8 bottles, rounded up again. You may determine that you can get by with less than 1 gallon per person each day. So for 2 people, 16 bottles per day is what we'll use for our plan. A case of bottled water typically has 24 bottles. So 1 case will last 2 people 1.5 days. 16 bottles minimum per day at 90 days is 1,440 bottles, or 60 cases for 2 people. You can also look at this from an ounces point of view because you can get water in all types of containers. So if each person needs 128 ounces, or 1 gallon per day, at 90 days, then that's equal to 90 gallons, or 30 cases. For 2 people, that's 180 gallons, or 60 cases. You can base your needs around this assumption and calculation. If you only wanted to allocate a half a gallon of water per day per person, then that is 64 ounces, or 4 bottles. Then you'd only need 15 cases of water, or 30 cases for 2 people. So let's recap. 1 bottle of water is equal to 16.9, or 17 ounces. 1 gallon of water is equal to 128 ounces. 1 case of water is equal to 24 17-ounce bottles, or 406 ounces. 1 case of water equals just a little over 3 gallons. So for budgeting purposes, just allocate 3 gallons for a case of water. Now that's per person. 1 case of water could last 1 person 3 days based on our 1 gallon per day assumption. 30 cases of water would last 90 days for 1 person. The price of a 24-bottle case varies widely from place to place. They are used as gimmies or lost leaders, so check your cost where you are. But for this video, let's budget $2.75 per case. So 60 cases of drinking water times $2.75 per case is $165. So keeping a running tally, that's $165 for drinking water, and $810 for food, for a total of $975. Okay, so food and drinking water are now done. Let's discuss hygiene water. Brushing teeth, bathing, flushing the toilet. Okay, brushing your teeth. Let's allocate 1 cup of water per brushing per person. So 2 brushings per day times 90 days equals 180 cups of water to brush your teeth. 1 cup is equal to 8 ounces. 180 cups times 8 ounces is 1,440 ounces of water. 1,440 ounces divided by 128 ounces equals 12 gallons. For 2 people, that's 24 gallons of water for brushing your teeth. If you allocate a half a cup, that would be 12 gallons for 2 people. So let's recap per person. 1 cup is 8 ounces of water. 2 brushings per day is 16 ounces of water. 90 days is equal to 1,440 ounces. 1,440 ounces is equal to 12 gallons. If you allocate a half a cup, then you're down to 6 gallons of water. Bathing. For survival purposes, I'll describe bathing as having no running water, but a limited amount of water and a wash rag and some soap. This is the most ambiguous calculation of all because you could require anywhere from 1 to 5 gallons or more. Then it depends on how many times you choose to bathe and wash your hair and how much hair you have, so you can see where this could go. But if you use rainwater for this, be prepared to collect rainwater, and we'll touch on that in the next video. But at 5 gallons per bath every other day, that's 225 gallons, which is 5 gallons times 45 days for one person, 450 gallons for 2 people. Of course, in the harsh winter parts of the country, and the 90-day period is in the dead of winter, snow can be melted to accomplish this. If you have a spare bathroom that isn't used, fill the tub up with water and leave it. The average bathtub holds between 30 and 50 gallons. So let's recap per person. 5 gallons of water per bath, 45 baths, which is one every other day, which is 225 gallons of water. So 5 times 45. Okay, flushing the toilet. This, of course, assumes that your sewer system is working, and when you flush your toilet, the sewage is actually taken away and not backing up. Sewage plants require electricity too. Okay, you can flush a toilet with 1.5 gallons of any type of water. One of the stupidest things we do in America is use drinking water to flush the toilet. So to minimize your water usage, consider this phrase. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, wash it down. So at 5 flushings per day, at 1.5 gallons, that's 7.5 gallons per day. But again, any water will do. Remove the lid from the toilet tank, pour in 1.5 gallons, and flush it. If you're in the South and you have a pool, then there's an option for your toilet water. So let's recap per day. 1.5 gallons per flush, 5 flushes per day, 7.5 gallons of water. 5 times 1.5 is equal to 7.5. So for this video, we talked about storage, food, and water. Next, I'm going to talk about tools, accessories, and rainwater.